Everybody, here we are with the Stars Aligned podcast. As you see, Chris Toth in the background over there doing his best, trying not to flex, although it looks like he's got a little bit of a shoulder flex going on right now.
There's no flex, bro. There's no flex. I'm just chilling.
Yeah. Obviously, thank you all for coming on Monday to our season ticket event party. That was awesome. We had such a great time seeing everybody. We're going to do another one in July, so we want to make sure that you guys send in feedback on things we can do better, ways we can include more people, ways in which we can make it feel even more sort of family oriented for everybody. But we had a really cool time. Chris, you weren't there, but obviously we touched base about it. We played an inter squad scrimmage that night. The fans actually picked the teams, so there was a little way they could pick the teams. As my team won, no surprise. Even though for some reason I was worried that we weren't going to win. Silly. And we had a bunch of really cool stuff with the fans. So we're going to do another one in July, and we're excited to do that stuff. We also, before we jump into Chris, next week we're going to have a little bit of a surprise. I'm going to be in Europe, so we're not sure whether the show's going to happen, how it's going to happen, but we're going to figure something out. So anyway, we'll jump right into it, Chris. Welcome aboard. Chris has got his sneaky Fox hat on. He doesn't quite have any Stars gear yet, but that's okay. So welcome aboard, Chris.
What's up, Nick? Thanks for having me on, man. Sorry, I got to get rid of these dogs real quick. They're just in the way over here. Sorry.
That's weird. Chris Toth with a bunch of dogs around him. That never happens.
We just got up here to Idaho, so we're just kind of getting settled in. But, yeah, excited to be on the show, and thanks for having me.
Yeah, so obviously you've been on the show before, but it was the old show during COVID, and we did some stuff. This is sort of a rebrand with some new stuff. We'll have to get you one of these polos so you can look official next time. But let's jump right into it. We've been taping these for a little bit, and what we do is we take questions from people and we kind of bring them into the show and talk about them. But some of the questions that we've had over the last month and a half have been around TST, CONCACAF, the Virginia Beach stuff, and they've asked a bunch of questions about it. On Monday night, we brought down the trophy from Virginia Beach, so a lot of fans were taking pictures with it and stuff. Lynn had to really clean out the beer smell from inside the cup. But talk a little bit about the last sort of 6 weeks of soccer for you.
Whew. Well, right after indoor, that last game against Mesquite with the Strikers, I went right into it. I went down to El Salvador probably 2 days right after that game, and we had the qualifying, the World Beach qualifiers, and we ended up beating Trinidad and Tobago and then beating El Salvador in the final. Us and El Salvador went. So we were there for about a week in El Salvador, and after that we went to Mexico for another tournament for another week in Acapulco. And we played just a friendly tournament out there. We played Mexico. We played, Mexico or Colombia and Saudi Arabia. And we ended up losing 2 matches to Colombia and Mexico and beating Saudi Arabia. And then after that, it was kind of a tournament just to gear up towards CONCACAF, which, you were playing the playoffs at that moment. And so you couldn't make it. But, we then went to the Bahamas, like maybe 2 weeks after that, maybe a week and a half. Didn't really have much time to kind of have me time and just kind of transition straight from indoor to beach. And we went out to the Bahamas and we crushed it, man. We've gotten second the last 2 previous years. And, this one we kind of felt like, hey, we really need to take it. And we went out there and we took it, Nick dominated. The team played really, really well. I did what I had to do in goal, and we put it all together, and we ended up winning every match. We had a shutout in the final against Mexico, which has never been done before. So it was super successful. And then right after that, I think we had maybe a week off, and we went out to North Carolina for the TST tournament that I wasn't going to play. And then Nick kind of got me in and played the tournament with Sneaky Fox, which was like a one-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Just looking back on it, met some unbelievable people, really good connections. We have a thread that's still ongoing. That's like used daily, like all day. You got to mute that thing because it's just constantly going off. And same thing, we went out there and kept playing and kept doing what we do. And went all the way to the semifinals. We kind of ran out of gas at the end there. Some injuries took place, but we rode Nick for a while, and I was trying to do what I could in the goal, and we had a couple beach guys on there too, and a couple indoor guys with Vandergriff and Ramon, and did what we could. And the MLS guys, Brad Evans and Wings and Quincy, all those guys, it was amazing. And even off, the coaching staff, we had Mike McGee, Kyle Martino, Jay Demerit. If I don't mention it, sorry, but
Yeah.
man, the list goes on. It was such a good time. Incredible time. Great experience. Went to the semis, ended up losing it, which, the team at Newtown was a pretty good team. They deserved to win it all. And then flew back home after that, which was a very long, extensive, not very long, but it felt like it was a month because the games are so close together. And, you add that with not wearing cleats for 10 years, what that does on your feet and your legs really took a toll. We go home, we travel back, and about 4 days later, head out to Virginia Beach, still all blistered up for my cleats and whatnot, and go out there for another little brutal battle, which Virginia is not any joke. I've been playing that tournament for, I think, 12 years now, and I finally have won that tournament, which is a pretty big thing because it's the biggest beach soccer tournament in the U.S., and it was amazing experience, to play with the Stars and to win it with the Stars for my very first time, which was a really great experience. Even playing with a lot of the players, that do play indoor that haven't really played beach, and like Felipe, he did really well. People may not know Felipe. I call him Felipe, but Corey Keats. We had former star Alessandro Canale. Nick obviously was there, and Ricardo Carvalho from the league. So we had a really good showing, and it was great, man. This last 6 weeks, 8 weeks has been insane. I'll put it like that. It's been the most soccer I've ever had consistently for, it may have been my entire career, just because I came right off of indoor going right into it. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to unpack there, but it was a really, I completely forgot for a second. I spaced out that you had played those 2 tournaments before I got to it, because I feel like I'm beat up, and I just remembered now that you did 2 events before I even got there. But yeah, it's been a super crazy last month and a half. And if you guys can't tell, Chris is up in Idaho right now, enjoying the fact that he doesn't have a game this week, enjoying the fact that he doesn't have 6 games and he doesn't have to wear cleats. We've talked about it because we were rooming together at the time, but my feet after the TST tournament and wearing cleats for 6 games in 2.5 days or whatever it was, that was probably the most sore I've ever been, and my feet took the biggest beating that they've ever taken, which is hilarious because people who have never heard about beach soccer always go, "Oh, beach soccer, your feet must be just destroyed," and it's actually quite the opposite. It's like your feet are chilling in the sand, but you go put some cleats on. I don't know, my feet are still hurting from that tournament.
It's a different game, man. It's just different game, different gear. It's all different. It's like when you run on turf forever and then you go onto the sand and you feel sore after a day and you're like, dude, I'm super fit. Why am I sore? I only ran an hour in the sand. It's just totally different. It's the same thing with shoes. I don't plan on going back to cleats only one time a year for this TST term because I had such a good time. But that's it. I'm not training them. I didn't even warm up in cleats. I warm up in my turfs and then put the cleats on at the very end because a lot of the MLS guys are concerned. Hey, Chris, you should probably wear the cleats. If it makes you guys more comfortable, I'm gonna wear cleats.
Yeah, we used to, even for warm-ups, I would take as long as I could to get out to the warm-up portion of it because I was trying to delay having to put the cleats on. I'd be like, no, I gotta run to the restroom really quick, and I think I forgot my shirt. And I would just delay the process so I wouldn't have to put my cleats on. But yeah, I'm gonna tell the story of how you ended up actually playing in this game, right? I'm gonna tell the story a little bit about the TST tournament and how you actually got into playing with Sneaky Fox because. So Mike McGee gets linked up with me through Lamar, and he says, "Listen, we've got these players." I go, "Well, if you need a goalkeeper, I know a guy. He'd be really good." And he goes, "Well, listen, let's bring him, but he's not going to play." we got Nick Raimondo, best small-sided keeper. His feet are the next level. He's not going to play. And I go, all right, well, it's important to have goalkeepers. You always want a good goalie there, no matter what happens. All right, he's not going to play. Okay, whatever. So I was there the night before you, so you're texting me, hey, what's the vibe? Are they cool? And I'm like, yeah, they're really good guys, whatever. We show up the first day. You weren't there yet. We had this little training session in a park, like literally a small little park. The field is like got a huge slope on it. We're playing 5v2 with like 6 people, or 7 of us. And we show up the next day, no training. All these other teams have been at it for like 2 or 3 weeks, right? They've been training, preseason camps. Felipe and Alex and Tyler went out to Vegas and had like a 4-day, well, they said it was a training camp. I'm not so sure it was a training camp, but they were out in Vegas for a week or whatever. We get there and we all put our cleats on. We all start warming up, and Nick Raimondo takes one little step out and goes, my calf. And he turns around, and I haven't even seen it. And you walk by and you go, well, I guess I'm playing. And I was like, really? What happened? And you're like, well, Nick just pulled his calf, literally first jog of the first session. So it ends up that Chris ends up getting the start and the nod, and that game goes all the way down to 3v3.
Yeah.
First game we played went down to 3v3 because we were sitting in the hotel the day before going, this whole take a player off every 5 minutes is never going to get down there. Someone's going to score fast. It's not even going to happen. And the first game we get down there, we go down to 3v3, and Chris ends up going from not playing at all to scoring the game-winning goal in a 3v3 matchup against AJ De La Garza's team, Zala, that ended up being in the semifinal on the other side, right? And they lost to the team that lost in the final. Yeah. So quite a turnaround there, and then of course we were laughing about it later. And if you guys haven't heard it, you need to go check out Alan Gordon's podcast. And I got to find the name of it right now, but it's a hilarious podcast. He put it out after the tournament, and he was talking about how it's called Major League Journeyman. You got to go check it out. It's hilarious. He's talking about how you take a shot to the head at one point in the game, and he turns over to Nick Raimondo and goes, Nick, you wouldn't have wanted to take that shot from that close. That's crazy. And Nick's like, yeah, no, it's good that Chris is in the net. I wouldn't have saved that, or I wouldn't have made an attempt or something. But yeah, you had an incredible tournament, and I thought you had a really strong case for goalie of the tournament. I think obviously Paolo, who won the whole thing, probably should have maybe taken it just based off of the fact that he gave up the fewest amount of goals and won. But I think it ended up being, I don't know if it was the Wrexham goalie or somebody who ended up winning.
Yeah, it was a Wrexham. I mean, yeah, normally it should go to the winner. But we've seen that not given out as well. But anyways, normally the winner, probably should have gone to Paulo. I was somewhere there with the goals against as well, but whatever, man. The finalists, it's between the two in the final to make.
So that's the next story we're going to tell. We're going to tell that story, and then I've got a bunch of questions for you. So we're in the Bahamas, right? We're playing. It's the final. We just shut out Mexico 5-0. Okay. Chris just said it. Shutting out Mexico never happened in U.S. soccer's or U.S. beach soccer history. It's never happened.
But it's never happened in CONCACAF final ever either. So
never happened in a CONCACAF final ever. For a keeper to have a shutout in beach soccer is very rare. It's not as rare as it is in indoor, but it's really rare. How many shutouts do you have in beach? Do you know the stat?
Ooh, I would say it's probably about 4. Probably 4 or 5, somewhere there.
And you have 96 caps now?
96.
So if you do the math, it's like every 27, 28 games, maybe you get a shutout. Or not 27, but 23, 22 games. Okay, so we're in the final. We're in the CONCACAF final. We win 5-0. It could have been 8 or 9-0 maybe.
It very well.
Did you score in the final?
I did not score in the final.
Okay, you didn't score in the final.
I didn't need to score. You didn't need to score.
So we win 5-0. So, if anyone's ever been to a beach event, all the teams that are still active are on the sand. So us in Mexico are on the sand, and the organizers rush out because they have to hand out the individual awards. So they come over to me and they go, Nick, come over here. And they don't tell you what award you've won, but come over here. And they go, Chris, come over here. So, we both walk over. And Chris goes, okay, and we're about to go walk up for the podium, and the guy goes, actually, no, it's not you. It's not you. Sorry, Chris, you can go back. You can go back to the team. And so he hands the goalkeeper award to the goalie who just lost 5-0 in the final. and the Mexican goalkeeper wins the goalkeeper award. And if we could have booed, if we could have had like a trumpet and vuvuzela, that boo, that would have been a resounding boo because you were easily the best keeper in the tournament. Your goals against was, I don't know,
It was low.
heavily lower, right?
In
Heavily lower.
beach soccer, it's not really kept a stat. They don't keep that.
But either way, it was crazy. So you got snubbed for that one, and that was unfair. Then you didn't get to the final for TST, so you could have won that one, I thought, but difficult to win that one with us not making the final.
Yeah.
And then we get to Virginia Beach, and not only do you win it for the first time ever, but you also win goalie of the tournament. Although I have to correct something because I've been watching this. They posted that you scored in the final, and you did not score in the final. Franco scored in the final, and I want to make sure we clarify because you're the guy that always tries to pull my goals off when somebody, hey, no, it wasn't you, Nick, somebody else. So,
Listen,
deserved goalkeeper of the tournament, deserved, but you didn't score in the final. I want to make sure it was Franco's goal.
Listen, Franco gets the goal, but I think what they meant was it was going in. It took a bounce. It was going in. The goalie was done. Franco just raised the eyebrows a little bit. The ball got deflected. Now, in your case with the goal that you scored in Mexico, you could probably pull up the little picture that I sent you.
I don't have it.
That's a goal. That's my goal. I'm not giving that to you. You have over 100 goals. I'm going to add one more to my tally, and you'll be fine with that. But it's my goal. It's over the line.
What we're going to do one of these next shows is you're going to send us that picture. We're going to send it and put it on our Facebook profile for the Stars, and we're going to have them vote on whether it was a goal or not, okay?
That's fine. We'll put the video. We'll do everything. No problem.
Perfect. We'll have it down there. We'll have it by popular vote, and we'll decide if it's a goal.
And
Chris shot a ball against Colombia.
No, that was against Mexico.
Oh, it was against Mexico.
In Mexico, yeah.
And the ball hit the post, hit the keeper in the back.
Keeper crossbar down.
And it rolled across the goal line like this, and it was rolling across the line.
You said it.
Now the problem is this. Chris's angle that he's got it videoed at is from a diagonal. So it looks, when you're looking at it from the diagonal, like it's over the line, but it wasn't. Anyway, long story short, it was on the line. I came in, made sure it got over the line, kicked it in. And Chris still to this day, and that was in 2000 and...
I think it was 17 or
17.
Yeah, it was Puerto Vallarta Cup.
Claiming it was his goal and that I stole one. And that when I got my 100th goal, that it should have really been 99 because it was really still his.
Listen, whichever way they decide to vote, we're gonna either take one from you and add one to mine, or we'll leave it where it's at. But
yeah, well,
something's gonna happen.
I'm fine with a democratic vote. That's fine. Everybody can. It's a democracy here. If they want to vote, we'll accept the outcome of the results. All right, I got a bunch of questions for you here when we talk a little bit about. First off, talk a little bit about coming back to the Stars, what it was like, because the first time you came, it was the COVID season, so you never got to play at ShoWare. You didn't get to play in front of our fans. You didn't get to see it. Talk a little bit about the difference this time around.
Yeah, last time I hit free agency was a strange time. Nobody knew what was going to happen with the league. It just got shut down. I had lots of conversations with Ontario then. I had conversations with you, Nick, and for Tacoma. And the word was that the league may not happen. And so with my own personal jobs, nobody knew what was going to happen either. And so the bills kind of kept coming. And so it's like, all right, what do you do? And Lane Smith, he's a great owner, and he offered me a good deal, whether the league is going or not. And so at the time, I just figured, hey, I got a lot of good friends up there. I've always had interest in playing for this team. Why not give it a shot and see how this goes? It's not going to be a normal season. I'm going to be able to commute. And so with my wife and I kind of speaking about that and being able to come back home, and the games, I think, were over a weekend. Then you kind of went home, then you'd go back for a little bit to practice, and then you'd be right into games. So for me, it kind of made sense, just because even in California, there wasn't going to be games either. I think Ontario came into the mix later with their arena. I think it was said that it was going to be Kansas City and Florida the whole year. So it was like, okay, well, we're going to travel anyway. So for me, it wasn't really like a normal type of free agent. It was very, very strange. Whereas this time around, I became free agent and spoke with, you guys and of course with Empire and I just feel like after a while, my wife and I made, made some decisions and had a lot of thinking to do, and we thought, why not have a change? I'm born and raised in San Diego, currently still live there, and why not go have a change outside of soccer and just see what that looks like, and what type of opportunities that presents. And then already with the team, with you there, and Evan as the assistant coach, and knowing Ramos and Corey, and having a good relationship with Danny and Caceres, who I've been playing against forever. I know all these guys so well. It just kind of made sense for me as the right destination at this moment. So yeah, I'm just happy and grateful to be back. And obviously Lane Smith with such a great owner that he is, really kind of put me against the wall a little bit in Virginia, and we had some great conversations too. And I look forward to playing for him and for you, Nick, and doing what I can for the team to win.
Yeah, we're excited. We obviously we told our season ticket members sort of the night before it aired, and it was difficult because some of them were up in the bar, some of them were down on the field. But I have a very, very vivid memory of somebody on the field, one of the season ticket members, because I was behind it with a microphone. Just when we said, "Okay, guys, we're going to announce our newest signing tomorrow," and some of you guys have kind of guessed who it might be, but we're going to sign Chris Toth. And there was a guy standing right in the middle of the field who just went, I guess. 2 hands up in the air, put his hands up. It was kind of hilarious, but yeah, we're excited to see you. And obviously, I think it's such a, I've long told you how cool it is to play at ShoWare, and how I mean, you've played at ShoWare, right? You've played at ShoWare, but never on the team that ShoWare is tracking. And our fans are such cool fans about it. They're so engaged in the game. They're so involved. It really is a special place to play with really special people. So we're excited to have you up. We're all sort of, for those of you that don't know, Chris's wife Kayla's coming up too. They're going to make it a whole thing, and they're going to be up there for the season, because last year it was or the last time you came, as he said, it was fly in, fly out, fly in, fly out. There was a whole lot of stuff. Even our trainings were tailored, and we had to wear masks the whole time, and it was like a whole thing. So it's a very different time to join, and I think it's really going to be something that's super cool. So we're pumped to have you. And as he did say, Lane is, once Lane's like a freight train. Once he gets going, you just gotta get out of the way or jump on board, because once he's going, he's going. Yeah. All right, I've got a bunch of questions for you, and then I've got a game I want to play at the end if we've got time, because I've got to get to the airport here before they tell me that I'm late for my flight. All right, question number 1: your favorite stadium in the MASL to play at? Like, you go to this one stadium and you're like, yeah, this I'm jacked up for this game.
Well, I haven't played in Milwaukee, and I'm sure I'd be pretty jacked up to play there. San Diego obviously is my home, right? And so my dad's jersey's hanging there, so that's number 1. But outside of that, man, I'll tell you what, there is something about Tacoma that I really do enjoy. I don't know what it is, but there's something there, and I am really excited to actually play a home match there rather than being away and not have anybody supporting you. But Tacoma is a really good place to play. And then on the East Coast, I really, really do enjoy playing at Utica. I've played there twice now, and it's a great spot. I'd love to go back next year for the years coming. I mean, they really bring it. The fans are great. The team there is really good, in my opinion. I think they're an up and coming team, and it's just a really good show.
I missed the Utica game a couple of years ago because I got injured in that one weird one at home. But yeah, all the players came back and said it was really it was a vibe. Like, going there, everybody's really into it and the whole thing.
Yeah, Kansas City's great too. Kansas City's great as well. But
yeah, it's hard. Utica, there's a lot of
the East Coast is great. The East Coast is great.
There's a lot of tough. I mean, there's a lot of cool places to play. I always say the Dallas Stadium's really nice too. Kansas City Stadium's really nice, but. Okay, favorite opposition to play against, a team that you get excited to play against, that you're like, all right, I'm bringing my best.
Well, I'll say the Sockers are one of them, just because my former team, I played there 9 seasons. I also really enjoyed playing against Tacoma, playing against Danny. Danny's an all-time great, so that's no longer going to be a case. But San Diego is there, and Baltimore has a lot of history too. So when I do play against Baltimore, I really gear up for that one as well.
A player in the league that has your number that you're like,
Ooh.
oh, this guy. I have a couple suggestions. One who was with us on a beach trip who seems to think he has your number, but that's another
Yeah.
conversation. But is
Yeah.
there a player in the league that just happens to score against you somehow? You don't know how it happened, but he scores.
Yeah, that's funny. Ricky says that. It's definitely not Ricky, but I would say this year I only played them one time, but that Morales guy from Mesquite got 3 on me, which I mean, I think maybe you've had 1 hat trick on me in your career, may one, but he had my number in that game. But after that, I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to think.
My suggestion was going to be, and maybe he's going to come up later, so I'll keep it to myself now. But there's a player that plays in Mexico that I feel like scores against you every time he plays against you. But we'll talk about it.
Plays for well, I don't want to say a team if I'm going to spoil something.
No, you're not spoiling anything. I think it's Kike Cañas. Enrique Cañas scores against you every
Oh, yeah. You know what? I will give it to Cañas, man. That guy, I tell him every time. He'll get me on a little chip or he'll do something. He's very, very clever, that guy. That dude is underrated, man. He deserves a lot more credit than he deserves.
Now I have to remove the question because my question at the end is the best player in the league that doesn't get any credit. And I was going to say it's probably him too, but he's the guy that I think scores against you. And every time you play against him, I'm like, man, that guy. And he's like, and you always say the same thing. You're like, he always finds a way, somehow to get a ball in the net.
Yeah,
and
he's
it's
definitely one
not
of those.
Ricky, because I don't know. Ricky seems to have some count of how many goals he scored. I don't think it's accurate, but that's a whole nother thing. The most memorable game you played in. Is there a game that sticks out in your mind of like, oh my God, this one game was crazy. This one game.
For indoor?
Indoor.
Yeah, the first time I played San Diego in San Diego with Ontario, the Fury at the time. The game I had, it was a really, really good game for me. We should have ended up winning the match. I think we lost 3-2. Went into overtime. That match was something.
Is that the one that ended in overtime with an own goal?
Yeah.
It was Jose, right? Charlie's brother.
Jose Gonzalez, Charlie's brother. Yeah, unfortunate. Yeah, that game, and then the other memorable game for me was when I took over for the Sockers from Riley Swift, and we played. It was in the PSL days, and we played Las Vegas in the semis, and Phil had made the change with me and Riley. And I played the semis against Vegas. We won in overtime. Cheeky scored like a half bike, kind of like a side volley type of goal. And then we went to the final and beat Detroit. And I had been a part of 2 championships. One of them with you, which was a really memorable game as well, playing against who was that?
It was
Sidekicks, Mexico City Sidekicks. That was a huge game for me because that was my rookie year. But this one with the championship, winning it against Detroit, that's probably my number one with San Diego.
Okay, now I got to jump the best player in the league that doesn't get any credit or the awards. Is there a player in the league that has surprised you that you're like, I can't believe this guy, or I didn't think much of him and he's really surprising? Or is there a player maybe that you played with that you thought, I don't know if he's going to be good, and then all of a sudden it's like they take off? Or is there any like surprises?
Well, I used to play against Ontario just like you a lot of the time. And, you know, at the time, I didn't really know any of the players outside of like Tino and some of the guys that may have played beach and whatever. And then I knew Charlie was a good player. I knew he was. And then when I went there, that's when I was like, wow, this guy has a lot of potential to be really, really, really good. And you look at him now and he's really taken off. You know, he's one, if not the best midfielder in the league. Just his ability to break pressure, to go 1v1. His shot is so consistent, both feet.
He's got the little roll back. He's got the little roll back from his right to his left, and he releases it really quick. And
even when he was in Ontario, he was really excelling the year when I was there because I got to see him more. And now he's at San Diego, and he's playing with a lot of really, really good players. So he may not have to do as much, but in Ontario, he really took on a big load.
Yeah, I remember seeing him when I was there, which was a couple of years before you got there, and he was kind of emerging in the league as a player to like keep your eye on. Mm-hmm. Him and Andy Reyes at the time were 2 younger guys that were coming in that were just kind of learning the indoor game. Andy played last year at Mesquite. And I remember thinking he was really technically clean, but he was always kind of undersized. And so, some of the undersized players in the league have a tough time sometimes finding rhythm because it's such a physical league. And he jumped up, and
Yeah.
now, I mean, yeah, he's probably one of the players that you really can't ever like sleep on. Like, you can't ever be like, oh, Charlie's got the ball, we're probably okay. He's a guy who at any point, I mean, he's got that right to left pullback first time shot that he puts, and he's got it that top corner, like across his body.
Yeah,
top
he
corner.
goes
He's really
across.
got that. Yeah, and he's got a really good soul roll release. He's got a really good. He's very different. He's a good player. The worst goal you've ever given up in indoor?
Well, I would say the one in the All-Star game went under the foot, but I knew it was going to happen to somebody because that ball
You
was
said it before the
very
game.
slick.
You said it
I
before
said
the game.
this ball is, it's going to go under somebody's foot, and it ended up being mine. So that goal, and then I would say one in Mexico, it was against Sonora when they had the tiny field, and the boards around the goal they weren't flat, and so they were angled. And so when somebody shot the ball, from pretty much anywhere, the ball would rebound inside the box. It wouldn't just go directly back and straight. So Reynoso hit one time, and I played it like, oh, okay, well, it's just going to go straight back to him. So I kind of stepped to my right, I believe it was, and it hit me in the back and goes in because I forgot the board, takes an angle inside. And, Bill's looking at me like, what the hell? And, it's like, dude, this is I do this all the time, off the boards at practice flat, and these boards were inverted. But anyways, those would be the one in the All-Star.
The All-Star game. The funny thing was that everybody on that team that was from the West Coast that knew you never even skipped a beat. Like, they saw you make the mistake, and they're so used to you being really good with your feet that we all just kind of were like, all right, let's put the ball down. It's fine.
Yeah, usually, it never happens, but
usually you kind of go like, oh God, this guy, like, what are we doing? And everyone just kind of was like, all right, let's go, let's get the ball, let's move on. I do remember that one. Okay, let's go. I've got a little game I want to play, and then we got to sign off here. But
okay,
it's gonna sound like the game is about me. It's not intended to be about me. It's about whether you're paying attention. Okay.
Okay.
Let's see if you're paying attention to the things I say or that you know about me. Okay. How old was I? Okay, these are all about me, but we'll see if you know the answers, okay?
Okay.
Since we've been rooming together for 15 years. How old was I when I played my first professional indoor game?
Okay, so you're 37 now, yeah? That was back I started in 2009. You came in 2011, I believe, is when I met you. 2010? 2010. So 37 minus 10, you were 27, 28?
No, I was, let's see, that was in 2010. That's 13 years ago.
13 years ago.
24.
Yeah. 24.
Maybe 23. I'm not sure. I think maybe 24.
24.
Okay. My favorite movie. If you had to pick a movie that's my favorite movie, what's my favorite movie?
Dumb and Dumber.
That's okay. You got one right. Okay, let's go. My favorite player growing up.
Your favorite player growing up. Well, I don't know.
Or you can give two options if you've got two that you're like not sure between. Got my pencil out here. Just
growing up.
Or just when I was starting to play.
I would say my first one would be the first Ronaldo.
Okay, that one's one of them. I would have accepted another answer as well.
Well, I don't know if this one's gonna work. He played for Spain, best Spanish striker ever, but he played for Real Madrid, so I don't know. Not him.
No.
Well, I would say Ibrahimovic.
Yeah, he's one of the three, but it was Fernando Torres was the other guy.
That's right, Torres.
Yeah, Fernando Torres I would have accepted, but the first Ronaldo was the guy. How many indoor teams have I played for?
Okay, here we go. So you've played for Milwaukee. You played for Syracuse. You played for San Diego. You played for Tacoma, and you played for Ontario. So 5.
Good. So far, you've only made one mistake.
I can't believe I made the mistake either of that. It must have been the long drive today.
Okay. If I weren't a soccer player, what would I be?
If you weren't a soccer player.
Or maybe it's better not to do that. Let's say, if I weren't a soccer player, what jobs would I definitely not have?
Well, you definitely wouldn't be a laborer.
That's that number one. Wouldn't be anything
Wouldn't
to
be
do
a
with
laborer.
manual labor. That's true.
No heavy lifting for Nick. No hard
No.
work. None of that.
No hard work.
Uh,
That's it. You don't need to say anymore. That's it.
yeah,
We've
that
got it
covers a
all.
lot of bases. I feel like you have
That's good.
firemen, policemen, all that stuff's out,
Yeah, you've
bro.
covered it all. Yeah, that's all we needed to hear. And the most embarrassing miss you can remember from me. Mine was.
There's two. One of them is the one in the semifinal. Was it the semifinal match against the Mexico City Sidekicks with the Sockers? You 1v1 beat the
Hold on, it
goalie.
wasn't Mexico City because that was in the final. It was against La Raza.
Then it was against La Raza, and I didn't play that game. But I thought it. No, you're right. Okay, La Raza, open goal in the final championship. All you had to do was you could have dribbled it in the goal, and he hits it, skies it over the goal. And everybody's like, what is going on with Nick right now?
See, I don't remember that.
Oh, I remember it. And then
I
the other
blocked
one
it
was
out.
Virginia Beach. You played with Team Pug, and the goal was completely open. I think you were standing under the crossbar. This is one of those videos that would go on like RL Designs where you tag your friend.
Yeah.
This would be the perfect one. You headed the ball and it went completely over the goal. You were underneath the crossbar. I don't even know how it was possible for the ball to go over and not in, but
I really got underneath it and really flicked it up. I was trying to like hammer it in, like, and then I think it caught me on the corner of my head and went up this way. I remember that one. Well, that's all the questions I have for you now. We're going to have you back on the show, obviously, as we get close to it here. But for now, enjoy your vacation in Idaho. Tell Mr. McNeely and Jen that we say hi. And everybody in Tacoma and all the Stars fans around are looking forward to seeing you at one of our events. Looking forward to having you up here and watching you play. Looking forward to being able to actually cheer for you instead of cheering for me when I score against you, which is going to be nice for you too, I'm sure. And you know what? Your text chain during season is going to be you're going to like not be on your phone as much because you won't have to text me every 5 minutes. Oh, this game, that game, you'll be fine. You'll be right across the way.
I think it's going to be worse. Now I'm going to have to see you face to face. Hey, listen, you could, oh, geez, Nick, shut up. I don't want to talk about the game.
That's right. They always, all the players, the next morning after one of our games, Ramos will come in and go, and I'll be like, how many times you watch the game? And Ramos is like, I don't know. I watched it once. And I was like, I've watched it 4 times. And he's like, oh, God, leave me alone. I don't want to know about the one time I did this or the one time. And I was like, yeah, remember this play? And he's like, just give me a break. But anyway, thanks for coming on the show. We're excited to have you up here. We're all obviously very excited for you to be here. Everybody around the league has been reaching out with messages saying how congratulations to the Stars for getting you to come up here. And I know your parents and your dad is obviously somebody that you spoke to about coming up here, and he's got fond memories. He's on a picture in the soccer center playing against Steve Jungle, and he's up there somewhere. So we're excited for him to come up and watch his first game up here. I'm sure he's going to want to catch a game. But anyway, long story short, thanks so much for coming onto the show. And Stars fans, thanks for tuning in. As always, Stars Align, thank you guys for your support. And we're looking forward to seeing you guys soon. For those of you that haven't gotten your season tickets, there's a ticker tape going on right now. Get your season tickets locked in. It's going to be a great year. You're not going to want to miss a minute of it. Thanks, Stars fans. See you soon.
Thanks, Nick.